Dear Wily Scholars, this is a difficult time for everyone, but it's especially challenging for folks who don't have a stable support system. When you don't have a stable home or family, everything feels impossible. Getting into college is just the first step in what can seem like a series of never-ending hardships. Food and clothing and housing are just the minimum, and when those are difficult to maintain, the things that students really need often fall by the wayside. I know because I lived it. The difference between you and me is that you have an invaluable resource at your disposal. The Wily Network is a game changer. Getting a college degree changed my life, and it will change yours. You didn't get where you are today without knowing a thing or two about grit and tenacity, so today I have one piece of advice, and that is call your coach. Don't ever think they're too busy or they already know what I'm going to say. Just call them. Their job is to help you. Let them. I understand how important it is to have a lighthouse in your life. Someone who sees you in all your greatness, helps you weather the inevitable storms, and celebrates with you as you achieve your dreams. Let Wily shine that light on you.
Thank you all for joining us this evening. I'm Meghan Irons, and I'm a reporter with the Boston Globe, and I'm delighted to be here as your host today. Let's start with some words from Judy Alprin King, who founded Wily 5 years ago.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. For those of you who are new to Wily, welcome to our pack. And for the scholars, staff, volunteers, and donors, thank you. Without you, we would not be here today. Today's program is all about stories. And I think every moment of my life has led me to the Wily Network. But it really started when I opened up the New York Times about 6 years ago and read an article called Out of Foster Care and Into College. And I knew at that moment that I needed to build a community of people that could lean on each other and celebrate each other. Our beginnings were pretty modest, but today things look very different, with 71 scholars, 12 staff members, 283 volunteers, and 598 donors. There are so many ways to say thank you, and tonight we're going to do it through music and connections as we shine the light on gratitude. Enjoy the program.
Thank you, Judy. For our first piece of music, we will hear This Is Me from The Greatest Showman.
I am not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say, no one will love you as you are. But I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come, and I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me. Another
Understanding who we are and learning how to share or not share our personal story is a critical part of most people's identity.
I think something a lot of the scholars can relate to is this understanding when we are getting together. You kind of know that some way or some part of their life has been very similar to yours, and you don't really need to go into the details or try to explain something that most people don't understand. There's just that mutual understanding amongst the community, and that was really encouraging. Especially it encouraged me to not feel like I have to tell everyone my story if I didn't feel comfortable to do so, or if I felt like it was something that made me a more unique person in that time. I felt like I had the resources to properly share my story. I would say that Wily is real. There is no hidden expectation of you as a Wily Scholar in order to be a part of this program. Wily is great about being an unconditional support system for their scholars. Wily makes it feel like it doesn't matter what you've gone through or how you got to where you are today. They are able to appreciate you for who you are in your current standing, in your current environment, and all the great things that make you you. And they are there to support and help you reach any goal of yours in that current moment.
Asking for help and finding a community to lean on and contribute to is a critical part of college life. For Wily scholars who have learned to rely on themselves, developing a pack or a network can be complicated.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have things you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you don't let show. So just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on.
What a beautiful song. Both the message and the music have withstood the test of time. Keep that message in your mind as you listen to the conversation I had with Maddie Day.
Young people who come from a family system where there may have been disruption, or it may not be an intact family system, often enter a college campus where they're really lacking the social capital that many other students have that help them navigate those campus and community resources. And it becomes a challenge because there's, sort of questions that become everyday questions. What major should I choose? What, sports or things should I get involved with on campus that for many young people, they have families that they can go to and they can talk with about those. And for Wily scholars, they may not have that, or the folks that are back home supporting them really just may not be in a space where they can provide answers, understanding what's available on a college campus. And I think that's a very critical obstacle that we see for lots of our young people when they're entering a college campus. There's a variety of ways, and one of the things that we have found is a very intentional coaching approach, and that's something that the Wily program has very intentionally built. And that coaching approach is really about coming alongside the young person, partnering with them in a way that you are doing with and not for, and really helping the student understand what skills they may need to build up so that they can learn how to do these things that can help them to more successfully navigate through their college experience. And I think that, along with really connection to peers and a social community, are just such critical assets to successfully navigating the education experience. Programs like Wily really want to focus on the strengths of their students because they understand that those young people have often come from a space that has been so heavily deficits based, where it has become so much about what's wrong with you, what you don't have, what the problem is. And they really want to recenter the student on their unique strengths and talents and help them see those strengths and talents as the drivers for problem solving, the drivers for achieving their goals, and really the drivers for thriving. You know, in my experience, I've met with a number of young people with experience in foster care over the years, and we'll talk about their strengths, and it has surprised me every time when they say, nobody's ever said anything about strengths to me. They've only ever told me what's wrong with me. And I think this focus on strengths is just so critical when we're working with young people who have so much to offer the world, but may not have ever been esteemed in a way to believe that they have that inside of them. As we know, many of the experiences for young people who are disconnected from their families are full of stigma. And so, whether that is being in the foster care system, having experienced homelessness, identifying as LGBTQ, being a young person of color, there are so many ways that stigma really intersects with their sense of self and their sense of self-worth, and that really, quite honestly, that society reinforces, unfortunately. And the Wily program is really there to help create awareness, not just, on campus, but across the community, about the challenges that these young people have, and really help to remove barriers and create pathways for these young people to be successful despite the stigma. And I think, I mentioned a sense of belonging earlier, and I think part of fighting stigma and bias is really helping to create a sense of belonging so that young people see and can believe that those things that they've often been told their whole life, you don't belong here, you're not a part of this group, this place, really are not true. And so by bringing together those young people, the way that the Wily program does, they've really been able to fight that stigma both on an interpersonal level with young people and on a more, macro level across their communities and the post-secondary institutions.
Our next story is with someone who has lived this exact experience. His name is Ed Hajim, and he's had a remarkable journey coming out of foster care and orphanage to building a successful and varied career in engineering, finance, and now he's an author.
The biggest leaps of faith, and a Wily Scholar obviously has that leap of faith, is moving from high school and home to go to college, where there are no supports whatsoever. It surprisingly, although it's now over 60 years ago, it's still vivid in my memory, because I arrived alone at college. It's really glaring, and the kids unloading the cars with their parents, and you're by yourself carrying your suitcase, and it's just a very difficult experience. I immediately knew that I was different. When you're 18 years old, being different is not such a good thing. And I've been different for quite a while. Because in high school, we were in an orphanage, and we were considered the kids from the home. First of all, we're poor, and in those days, very few poor kids went to college. You start off with the fact that you don't look the part and you don't have the clothes. Also, you don't have the confidence, really, in many respects. All this refers back to what you do with your inner voice. No, it's just the only constant in your life. Your parents come and go, but the only constant you have is your inner voice. And to be able to communicate with that inner voice and for it to give you confidence in really difficult times when you're all alone, it can support you just like parents do. There are 4 things you ask your inner voice. What is my passions? What are my principles? Who are my partners? And what are my plans? The 4 P's, as I call them. So you have to train your inner voice. You have to develop a conversation with them. Basically, develop a language with your inner voice. I guess Wily scholars understand more of the big picture because they automatically have a part of the picture that most people don't have. And then they get the other part by having gone to college and being relatively successful. They have a bigger picture of the whole system, and they can pick and choose better ways of doing things, I think. The Wily scholars can live the American dream because they start with very little. If a child goes to the university and after a couple of weeks he's behind and nobody's helping him, he can get lost very quickly. And that's where I think Wily comes in. Wily is basically, in a sense, an adjunct or an additional inner voice, a counselor or a mentor that you can talk to.
As Wily celebrates Olivia, Maddie, Ed, and all of our supporters, we also want to celebrate Wily's 5th anniversary. Without all of you, Wily would not be here. And for those of you who are new to Wily, I want to share with you a video to help you understand its mission.
You know, when you've persevered on your own for so long, I think it takes a long time to sort of get to a point where you can build enough trust to reach out and ask for what you need.
The Wily Network comes together as a community of people who silently understand each other's story and who can support each other without judgment. Our assumption is that everybody on a college campus is actually able to take advantage of all the resources that are at college, and they're going to do really well. What we don't think about is that there's a small percentage of students that have really complex situations that present obstacles in their ability to take advantage of college. If we can help them figure out how to connect with all the resources that are available, then we're doing our job and we're helping them to be successful.
I come from very different circumstances, and I have very different experiences from other typical college students. I've been stuck on this idea, if I depend on this person, then I'll just be a burden. So it's better to just depend on myself and deal with it as best as I can.
Part of the reason we identify a network is to help normalize a situation. And so if we feel like we have a community behind us, things feel less daunting. When you're present for someone through their vulnerable moments, they ultimately get to a point where they see that your care for them is unconditional, and so that when things get really hard, you're going to be there.
As a community, it's our responsibility to step in and help them succeed. Since they've gotten so far to this point, how could we let them then not make it through?
Once I became a part of Wily, I started to feel proud of where I came from and proud to be who I am and proud of the fact that I'm at school. I really did find where I belong, and I really did find these awesome people that really do support me and care for me, and just people that I can trust.
I am evolutionary, and I'm an outlier.
I am adaptable to life's curveballs, determined to reach my goals, and unbreakable.
I'm determined to succeed.
I am adaptable, I am driven, I am focused.
I am strong, I am courageous, I am a game changer.
We are Wily!
If you can give them the supports that they need to excel at college, to feel whole, to feel healthy, then when they leave college, they're not only going to go on and do great things, they're going to help their siblings. They're going to help their family members. It's not just impacting that one student. You're impacting a whole bunch of people that might not otherwise have the opportunities to succeed.
I'm proud to be a part of Wily. I have a bigger network of people that genuinely care about me, and I care about them too.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we see, no, I won't be afraid, no, I won't be afraid, just as long as you stand by me. Darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountain should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. Darling, darling, stand by me, oh, stand by me, stand by me.
Standing by someone and truly serving as their lighthouse is the foundation of Steve Pemberton's message in his book, A Chance in the World. It was Steve's words and lived experiences that helped inform the creation of the Wily Network.
When I wrote my first book, I was describing really my unlikely journey from the foster care system to college and then beyond, which wound up becoming the story of a lot of our lives, of course. But what I was trying to accomplish in writing that was to talk about the power that everyday people have, the way in which they touch and impact their life, because those were the people who touched and impacted my life. I've come to call those people human lighthouses. I had lighthouses in my life, a kind neighbor who brought me books, a high school teacher who took me in when I had nowhere to go just a few days after Christmas. You had lighthouses too. Now, sometimes those lighthouses can be in our family. In fact, most times they are. Mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, extended family. But there are some lives who come into the world and, well, us are their lighthouses. I really was so impacted by those individuals who, though I was not family to them, they had such an amazing impact upon me. I met a lot of them during my time actually at Boston College. You know, I had arrived in college certainly with a degree of raw academic ability, but I didn't know a lot of the nuances of college. I didn't know how to manage my time, especially early on. I discovered all those things a little bit later, but I really didn't have a support system around me. I had just come out of the foster care system, so it had been a long, hard road, to get to campus. And there are a lot of the scholars for whom that's the case, which is why the Wily Network is so important, because of the resources and the support that you receive during your time, and not just during your time in college, but the years after. We engage and disengage perhaps. We have to find new ways to connect with one another. And I find that being the lighthouse in both the small ways and in the big ways can have that healing effect upon communities, upon societies even, because it does start with the small things. You know, there are 18,600 lighthouses in the world, and no two of them are exactly alike in their design and what they look like. This is our opportunity, though, to reflect a greater truism, which is that the most powerful lighthouses in the world really are the human ones. So when you're supporting the Wily Network and supporting the scholars, that's exactly what you're doing.
My advice is to early on search through their talents, their likes, their dislikes, and find something that gets them excited in the morning, makes them leap out of bed, makes them think about, makes them take 2 steps at a time.
There's one thing I would say to the scholars in particular, is the importance of persevering. Much like the sea upon which the lighthouse is built or watches over, there are storms in those seas. There are no such thing as calm seas. You breathe this air, you live this life.
So although it feels foreign at first, accepting resources or help, financial support, or even emotional support, the quicker you're able to begin accepting that help into your life from this network, you'll so quickly be able to begin advocating for yourself in places where you thought you didn't need to before.
Your college degree, your credential is yours. You have earned it just like everybody else. And it is the key, it is the next step that you get to build your life on, regardless of what has happened before. And I just really hope you take that in and hold that close.
We all run into challenges, but persevering through them is really ultimately how we're measured, which is why Wily Network is so important and so impactful. But I also want to tell you that it is so essential for you to be that as well.
The question that I will ask is, what is your greatness? And it's a question that I hope every Wily Scholar really considers. What is your greatness? What are the unique skills and talents that you have to offer the world? Because we need you. We need your skills, your talents, the way that you look at the world. And my hope is that in 5, 10, 20, however many years, that you'll be sitting here talking to future Wily Scholars, giving them the advice that you've gained through your experiences instead of somebody like me.
Michael Julian is a long-standing member of the Wily Network. Along with spending time with his family and serving as an executive of Health Grades, Mike is an ambassador to Wily. We can always count on him. As we wind down our program, we hope Mike's personal understanding of the need for Wily will resonate with you.
At 17, junior year of high school, I was emancipated and was on my own. I was lucky enough to get into Bowdoin College, but I didn't have family support. A lot of people think that if you just make it to college, if you come from traumatic backgrounds, that you're all set. And that's far from the case. Going to college at a place like Bowdoin, it brings a whole new set of experiences that, frankly, many folks aren't prepared for if they come from backgrounds like mine with emancipation, homelessness, etc. I was very lucky that I had lighthouses in my corner. Alan DeLong from Student Activities, who gave me a job, made sure I wasn't working off campus so that my experience was at Bowdoin. He encouraged me to go abroad and to seek the full experience of what Bowdoin offered and not just think of the short term. Truth is, I had poverty thinking. I also had my track coach who gave me a job over the summer. I didn't have housing or a place to stay. Managing those types of things, it can be complicated when you don't have family support. Now, Wily didn't exist when I was at Bowdoin, and I was lucky. There are many people who fall through the cracks every single day. And that's why I am so passionate about what Wily brings to the table. Overcoming trauma is hard. It's a process. It's not as simple as just graduating college and getting a degree and being all set. I'm proud of the work that we do on the Wily Network board every single day. Just like I had lighthouses through my college experience, Wily serves as lighthouses for our scholars. We do so by giving them a pack that they feel like they're part of, that's in their corner, through financial assistance. It's the combination of this work that's the secret sauce that allows our students to reach their full potential rather than fall through the cracks like I was at risk to do. It matters today. Being part of Wily allows me to give back every day just like my lighthouses gave to me. Thank you all so much for your time and attendance in joining this event tonight. We really appreciate it. As you know, the work we do is critical and important. So we're asking, and I'm asking personally, if you can consider joining our PAC tonight. And there's two ways you can do it. You can make a donation at the form below, or you can look for volunteer opportunities at thewilynetwork.org and join our PAC in that way. Thanks again for your time and participation, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
For once in my life, I have someone who needs me, someone I've needed so long. For once unafraid, I can go where life leads me, and somehow I know I'll be strong. For once I can touch what my heart used to dream of long before I knew. Oh, someone warm like you would make my dreams come true. Yeah, yeah. For once in my life, I won't let sorrow hurt me, not like it's hurt me before. For once I have something I know won't desert